so many people think they need to have everything figured out. I'm 26. I have nothing figured out. I know where I want to go. I know how I want to get there. It's probably not going to play out how I want to. And I've learned that from experience. I was having this exact chat with my dad over the Christmas period. And I said, yeah, I got absolutely no idea what I'm doing. And my dad, who's like 70, says, I got no idea what I'm doing either. Yeah. And I'm just like, that's exactly it. So don't worry about having it all figured out or anything else, because you will never have it all figured out.
In 1837, Horace Mann created the education system, a system at the time designed to pump out factory workers and professors. The same system that is still being used today in the 21st century. Now, Mann's system is backfiring. We are being moulded by the same industrial system that has existed for close to 200 years. That system delivers us into a digital economy that has no need of our outdated skills. This isn't our teachers' fault. This isn't the government's fault. This is due to a rapidly changing world full of technology and unforeseen circumstances. And us Gen Zs are caught in the middle. Welcome to the Driven Young podcast, the podcast for stressed, overwhelmed young Australians, teaching you practical life skills you can implement now to set yourself up in life. And now your host, Byron Dempsey.
Welcome back to the Driven Young podcast, and today I'm joined by Alasdair Barrie. We met on Clubhouse, hit it off, had some fun chats, so I decided to invite him on the show. Alasdair is a marketing growth hacker / crypto trader / relationships dude who has built a following of over 750,000 followers online. He's worked in over 10 industries and helped run one of the most successful marketing campaigns on TikTok, getting free marketing from Dixie D'Amelio and other massive influencers. Now, I do want to preface, this is a hardcore episode. Alasdair is super into personal development, he has very strong opinions on university, he wakes up really early and works very hard. I usually stay away from episodes like this because I have such a love-hate relationship with the personal development world. I think it is amazing and has benefited me so much, but it can also be very, very toxic if you don't learn to control it. However, I do know a lot of you will benefit from this episode, hopefully give you some motivation, a slap in the face, and a much needed perspective shift. I don't agree with everything that's said in this episode, and you don't have to either, but that is why I love bringing on new people. I love hearing how everyone lives their lives, and I'm sure there are going to be lots of things in this episode you'll love. So that's your warning. This episode is full on, but it's super, super valuable, and Alasdair is an awesome guy. We get into personal development, why Alasdair heavily disagrees with the university system, the importance of growing your network, how so many people have a victim mindset, the difference between being alone and lonely, and so much more that is just scratching the surface. As per usual, feel free to DM me on Instagram if you enjoyed this episode, and I did want to let you know I am opening up my 6-week coaching program to new applicants. If you enjoy the show and have got value out of it, but you want to take it to the next level and spend time with me personally and other awesome young people, head over to www.drivenyoung.com/coach. That's www.drivenyoung.com/coach to apply. Spots are very limited as I want to keep this group small so I can spend time with everyone. The link will also be in the show notes below. Now, over to Alasdair. Alasdair, welcome so much to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Byron.
Looking forward to this conversation. I know we're going to be talking a lot about TikTok, social media. I know a lot of young people, this is a world they want to go into just because of, it's so glamorized now. So we'll go to the dark sides and the good sides of it and get into marketing and stuff.
Sounds good.
But before we jump into that, love to know what you did after high school, all the fun stuff in between and what you're currently up to.
Cool. So after high school, I wasted 3 years of my life going to university, studying Bachelor of Commerce with a major in Finance and International Business at University of New South Wales. When I say that was the biggest waste of my time, I hated going there. I hated everything about it. And ended up coming out. Once I left uni, I did 8 careers in 4 years. All of them, basically, I never actually used anything that I learnt when I was at uni. So, worked across all different areas. Whilst I worked across all different areas of finance, you actually didn't need anything that I learnt at uni within that. And then I've worked in sales, did a UX design course with General Assembly, which was a 10-week practical course, and I came out of that with more experience than I would have in a 3-year uni degree.
Yeah.
So 10 weeks, let's be honest.
A lot more cost effective.
Yeah. I mean, it was still exy, but not as expensive as uni.
Yeah.
But again, like they help you when you come out. They help you find a job. Like they have a network into like the actual industry and stuff, and like bring people in so you can meet them and try and get a job. And so I had a job in UX design within about 3 weeks of finishing the course. Worked in that for 6 months, and then ended up going and working as a growth marketer for a venture company. And then in October last year, decided to leave that sort of employment behind and go out on my own and do my own thing. So
As you do, yeah.
Yeah, it's and it's been basically the best few months of my life, not having to report to anyone or do anything like that. So yeah.
That was recently you went out on your own?
Yeah, October last year.
Okay, awesome.
So like 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah, sweet. So I want to unpack the very first statement you made, which was about university, because that's a very hot topic on this podcast, to the point where I was just saying it before, I've almost like, man, should I go easy on it? Because I'm kind of being known as a person who's going up against the university system in Sydney, in Australia, and I'm not so against the system. I'm more against the way we're pressured into just picking a random degree.
Yeah.
And then like
Facts.
you just pick a random degree because you're like, all my friends are doing it. I'm just going to pick a degree. I'm going to do a business degree because I want to be Gary Vee. I want to be like a business person. I want to do a business degree.
Yeah.
It's not really how it works, is it?
No, definitely not. And I mean, like, yeah, I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions about like anything, is that uni is like some magic thing that gets you in places and does all that sort of stuff, and you learn everything you need to learn. Like, in the end, university is theoretical. Regardless of what career you want to go into after university, you are then going to learn how to do it on the job.
Yeah.
So the whole thing should be on the job learning. And my mum is actually she's an intensivist doctor in the ICU. And I was actually having this chat with her the other day, and she said that even medicine shouldn't be a university degree. It should be practical. They should go and do maybe 6 months of like theoretical stuff to basically understand the basics of things,
Fundamentals,
and then the fundamentals, and then actually go and work in a hospital in a practical environment. The only thing that really needs to take place is research at uni. Like, that's the actual thing. That's where the benefit actually lies, is people who are doing research and that sort of thing. Beyond that, like, you want to get into business, go and find someone who can be your mentor and offer to work for them for free.
Yep.
And literally, in that 3 years, even if you work for free, in that 3 years, you can work for free for them that whole time, and you will come out ahead than if you went to uni, because you're not coming out of there at least 30K in debt or whatever it is. And you'll actually have real experience. You'll have built a network, and you'll have actually had someone show you how to actually run a business.
Yeah. Guys, listen to this. This is the exact advice I give, and it's exactly what I did out of high school. I got a job with Glenn. This guy called Glenn Carlson, who's got a big business, and I shadowed him. I made videos, social media content for him for a year and a half. That's how I got into business. And this is my exact advice, because whenever people say, all right, Byron, I believe you, I don't need a business degree, what do I do? Literally that. Go find somebody you admire, message them, find 10 people you admire, message all of them, send them a video message, even better. Say, hey, I want to work for you for free. I'll do anything you want. I'll make coffee. I just want to learn from you and get as much value as I can from you. You're feeding their ego. Everyone wants to help.
Yeah.
If I've had people a girl came to me and said, I want to work for you for free. She runs my social media now. And like, I've given her heaps of clients off the back of it. So yeah, I think that's such good advice in terms of getting started in business.
Yeah. How I actually have one of my, interesting story, how I actually have one of my mentors right now, who is now my business partner 3 years on. I was working in sales, and I'd just done like a 12 or 13 hour day from like, and it was raining outside, and I was meant to go to a digital marketing meetup, and I was already like half an hour late, and I was like, do I really want to go to this? Like, is it really going to be anything? I should just go home. And then I was like, no, you made a promise to yourself that you're going to go. So I went there and like sat up the back or whatever, and was just kind of like, was like probably like the first meetup I think I'd ever gone to. And the first people came on, and they talked about like just like basic Facebook ads and that sort of stuff. And I was like, this is pretty lame. Like, whatever, I kind of already know this, blah, blah, blah. And then my mentor Jared then comes out, and he like blows my mind with growth hacking, and how he turned a cost per lead from $1.50 down to 9 cents. And I was just like, this is it. And so immediately afterwards, like I walked out to him, there was a whole bunch of people around asking questions or whatever, and I just went up to him and I said, yo, can I work for you for free? Like, I'm working a full-time job or whatever it is, and I'm like, can I come and work for you for free? And he was like, what do you do? And I'm like, I work in finance. I've been doing like some like digital marketing, all that sort of stuff. And he's like, look, add me on Facebook and we can chat afterwards. And like literally just went home that night, was talking to him about stuff, and like he ended up like coming on as my mentor, showing me different things within like the growth marketing space, everything else. Ended up helping me get the last job that I had. Like I turned up there. This is how little worrying about a degree or getting experience or anything else matters. Your network is everything.
Network is your net worth, they say, right?
Literally everything. My mentor spoke to, and I'm talking this, like the guy who like ended up being my boss, who I was like his second in command basically. He is worth like $200 million, and I got put in with him literally because my mentor said you should use him. The guy didn't look at my resume. He didn't give a shit about anything else. He literally just said, sure, come in and have a meeting.
Recommendation.
And I got in and I got the job, and I learned so much over that period. My mind freaking expanded so immensely. I accepted like to get paid way less than what I was worth for the job, because the experience, I was getting paid less in that job 4 years out of uni than I was when I left uni. Like I'm talking, I took a pay cut of about 60 to 70% of what I was making to go and work for someone who was way further ahead and where I wanted to be. And I sat down and I did it and I grinded, and I was doing like 100-hour weeks, making way less than minimum wage. I'm talking, I reckon like particularly in COVID, I was making probably $8 an hour.
I reckon when I first started, I was making about the same. And since the podcast, I've been making probably negative $10 an hour. I don't make money from this podcast yet.
And that's like, and again, it's like you got to invest, right? Like that's just how it is.
I mean, long term, I'd like to make money.
100%.
But like, I'm willing to make that sacrifice.
And very few people are, and that's the thing. Like everyone needs the security and those sorts of things. It's like, bro.
But this is how you get into business. Like this is literally how you get into business. So great example of what you just said. I'm looking to get into PR and media this year to really blow up through that. And I went to the same thing, exact same thing as you. There's this event. This guy calls me up 7 o'clock at night. He says, we've got an event on tomorrow. Could you like bring your equipment and could you run it? It's an online event. And it was like a 7 a.m. start in the city. I had to get up at 4 a.m. to get there. I get up at 4, I get there. The event's kind of pretty small. I run the whole thing, and this guy's so in love with me because I did everything for him for free. He's like, dude, like, let's grab lunch. I want to chat. You know, we grabbed lunch. I said, I want to get into PR and media. And he said, you got to meet this guy. It took me 12 months to get in front of him. So it took me an entire year just to get in front of him. He immediately got me lunch with him. I sat down with him. We spoke for like 3 hours. Now he's taking me on board as a client at like a massive discount, all through a network. And you could look at that and go, well, I did an entire day of work for free.
Can I just say I've got freaking goosebumps right now? How like I don't know if you can see that, but like all down my arms. Like it's freaking crazy how much I believe in this.
Yeah. It's 1,000 doors. You know, behind one door could be 1,000 doors.
100%.
It's a concept we talk about all the time. My mate came up with. And yeah, you're living it. That's exactly it. And that's why, you know, we're talking about Clubhouse as well. Yeah. Which, by the way, Clubhouse is this new social media app, which is basically networking.
100%.
That's basically what the entire network is.
Scale. Yeah. At scale. And it can be super niche specific. You get to go into specific rooms, which will be tailored to the exact topic that you want to talk about. And you can go in there and you can listen to the best of the world at what they do and get tips from them. And then you can even invite yourself up on stage. And I'm talking, you can talk to like billionaires about their strategy and stuff. And they will share that with you. Like, mind blown. I asked Grant Cardone a question the other day. And I was like, holy hell. Like, there is no way before Clubhouse I would ever have been able to say anything to Grant Cardone, probably ever. Particularly living in Australia, like, no way.
Maybe, you know, you get a 10-minute meeting 6 months from now, at most. At most. Yeah. No, Clubhouse is awesome. So I think we'll go into that a little bit. But before we head off the topic of university, business, all that sort of stuff, I think I just want to get across. Look, actually, the doctor example. I wanted to bring that up because doctors do practical, but it's after like 10 years of study, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like, they do like, I think it's, no, I'm not fully well versed on this because I didn't do medicine, but I feel like a lot of the first part is very theory based and that sort of thing. And I think towards the end of your 6-year degree, maybe in the last 2 years, you go out and you start doing some practical application and that sort of thing. And then when you specialize, then like that's another 7 years, I think. And there's a lot of like practical in that area, but like you really could cut out those first 4 years and just have the whole thing pretty practical, like focused.
Yeah. I think especially doctor, because it's such an important thing because someone's
100%.
life is on the line. The
100%.
practical focus needs to be so important. And
and I'm not saying like you go in and after 6 months you're operating on someone.
No.
You just work in the environment and you get to spend every day like watching and learning and in the actual field that you want to be in.
Do you know what else is great about that? If in 6 months you're in there and you realize, holy shit, this is not what I want to do,
100%.
now you're only a year invested.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're studying for 4 years and then on your 5th year you go into the hospital and realize this isn't what you want to do, you're not going to drop out because you're 5 years committed.
100%.
So it's like tasting at a young age, I think, is so important. A great example, like engineers. I know a guy's got an engineering company, and when they bring on fresh university students or freshly out of uni, they have to expect to fully train that student. Even though they've just done a 4 or 5 year degree.
Facts.
They're like, yep, we're going to have to fully train these people. We're going to teach them all the systems, all the software, everything we use, how everything works. Yeah, we expect them to have some fundamental knowledge, but we're investing, 20, 30K just to train them up.
100%.
It's like crazy.
100%.
That's what, and they've paid, 80K in 4 years of their life studying, yet they have to be fully trained up.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense to me.
No. I'm off it. I'm so off it. Law, everything. I'm just like, yeah. For me, it's like, let's not. I mean, even law, they like do like 4 years and then they go and do some practical work. Like they have to go and work in a law firm or whatever. But I just think a lot of the earlier bits, it's like you're going to learn. Like just go and work in a law firm. They'll give you stuff to do, and then you go and work it out as you go along. And they'll teach you exactly what you need to know. Like that's how it should be.
That's how I learned.
Exactly.
I literally they said, "Can you run our ads?" I'd never done Facebook ads in my life. I just started doing it.
Watch YouTube.
Yeah, I just wanted YouTube.
Watch YouTube.
How do I run Facebook ads?
Yeah.
Bang.
Literally, like you don't need to go to uni to learn how to do marketing. Like just do marketing.
Entrepreneurship, business, commerce, marketing. What's the other? There's not. Oh, look, law. You need a degree, but in Australia we have way too many lawyers. So, and lawyer is the biggest degree I get when people go, Byron, I want to drop out, but I'm doing this law degree because my parents wanted me to do it. And I'm like,
oh, don't even get me started about the parents wanting me to do it.
No, let's go there. This is what this podcast is about.
Just like, here's where I'm at with the parents wanting me to do something, right? If it's not there. Am I allowed to swear on this properly? Like,
yeah. You can say a few words here and there.
Okay, I won't. I'll hold back. It's not their life. It's yours.
Yeah, exactly.
And so here's like, are you really going to put yourself in misery because your parents tell you that that's what you need to do and you don't even get to live out the life you want to live?
Yeah.
Like you might be really creative and you could find, and with the internet now, you can literally do and create any sort of career out of anything. Like there are literally people eating food on YouTube and making $1 million a year.
Yeah, people who cut open things.
100%.
YouTube just cut open things.
100%. And so like, it might cause you going out and doing what you want to go and do with your life. It might cause some tension in the short term with your parents and they may not agree with what you want to do. But in the long term, when you go and you prove it out and you show that you're so freaking happy doing exactly what you wanted to do and you are working on something that like is actually making a difference and adds value to your life and is not draining, and they see you succeed in that, they are going to be so happy and supportive of you because they're like, yo, this is actually, we were wrong. This is what you should have been doing. It's not hey, like they're not going to be sitting there disappointed in you. They might be disappointed at the start because you're not listening to them. Another way to get out of not having to listen to them, move out of home.
Yeah, literally.
If you don't live at home, they have no control over you anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like.
And you might have to move into a cheap apartment with a whole bunch of friends.
100%.
Do it.
It's better than like having your life controlled or feeling like you need to be controlled by something. So yeah, my parents won't let me or my parents won't do this. It's not an excuse that I like let ride because I'm just like, you can do anything you want to do.
And it takes courage, I know some parents are really strict, but once again, I think the question I would say is, would you rather resent your parents for the rest of your life because you're in a degree or you're doing something that you don't want to do, or would you rather your parents resent you for 4 or 5 years while you figure out what you're doing?
Exactly.
I think it's so important because otherwise you're going to be 60 and your parents will be 70, 80 grandparents and you're still going to be doing a job going, I'm not fully in love with my parents because, they've really affected my mental health and my life.
It's the regret. It's the regret. And like your parents, when you're 60, your parents are most likely statistically not going to be around anymore.
Yeah.
And you can look back at your life and go, this is everything I could have been.
Yeah.
And it's too late.
The number one regret of the dying is I wish I lived a life more true to myself rather than the life
100%.
that others expected of me.
This is the and this is the quote that drives everything that I do in my life. I heard it like a few years ago, and I'm like, wow. I'm not religious in any way, shape, or form. I don't like. I'm happy with everyone doing whatever they want with religion. I'm just not in that camp. But it was a definition of heaven and hell, and hell. The definition of hell is to meet the person you could have been at death and realize you're not even a shadow of that person.
Yep.
And heaven is to meet the person you could have been and see yourself staring back at you. Like, that gives me the chills every single time. Like, I'm just sitting here in the chills right now.
The best version
because
of
it's
yourself.
like you could be you could be exactly what you want to be. Like, you can be exactly what you want to be. But did you let the opinions of others, did you let someone else make the decisions for you? Or did you go, you know what? Yes, it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable for a little bit of time, but now I'm going to go and do exactly what I want to do so I don't have to sit there at 60 or 70 and look back at life and say, I wish I'd done this, I wish I'd done that. Because at 60 or 70, it's too fucking late.
And that's what everyone does. I think 99% of people, when they're 70, look back on their life and have full of regret.
100%.
If you're at that age and you're not regretting, you've won at life. That's where I aim to be.
Yeah.
I don't want to be 70 and regret. I don't want to be 30 regretting what I did in my 20s. Like, I think regret is poison.
The only thing I regret in my entire life is going to uni.
Yeah. There you go.
That's the only thing. And I'm going to look back and every other thing, the thing I have about, because I will always do what I want to do. Always. If I don't like a situation, if I don't like it, then I'll change the situation because it's my responsibility. Like my life, my responsibility. I let the pressures of other people tell me that I needed to go to university. And so I went there. And literally the whole time there, and I was so miserable and I was looking for anything and I was on social media and I was doing trying to grow on Instagram and doing a whole bunch of other things. Everything that was not related to going to university, I was doing because I was so unhappy going to uni. I spent as little time as I possibly could there because I hated it so much.
Yeah.
And people come out of uni and they're like, yo, I've got this sick network. I'm like, nah. Because I didn't gel with anyone there because it was in a whole field of things that I didn't want to do.
Dude, my network now, so for example, I'm 4 years out of high school, which means I would just finish a degree right now. Yep. My network is insane versus if I'd gone to high school. I feel like I could get in the room with anyone in Sydney just through the people I've met. 100%. Like 60 episodes of the podcast, I meet people like you. Clubhouse now. I was in a room the other day and I just jumped in as a listener. It was like these massive VC investors and they just pulled me in because he recognized me. I don't even know how. Yeah. He recognized me. He was like, hey man, how you going? I was like, oh, good thing. I was just going to listen. And I'm just like, suddenly there's like, that Greta girl? She's like, the queen of ecom. She was in there. I was having a chat with her. Like just random stuff. Like the amount of, I think opportunity cost is a big one. What is the opportunity cost of what you could have done in that 3 years? Like, sure, people always go, look, I didn't enjoy uni, I don't use my degree, but, I got some good fundamental skills and I learned a lot. And I go, that's great, but do you know what you could have done in that same 3 year period?
100%, bro.
You could have grown an entire brand. That's
literally why I regret it. Because I'm like, all the things I could have done, but didn't. Yeah. Because I'm like, yo, I'm at uni. Yeah. It's like crazy. And you just when you're at uni, everything's like, yo, you got to get this job and you got to do this and you got to do that. And it's like, no, you actually don't have to do anything. And you look at all that's why all the super successful people in the world, they literally they drop out because they're like, this is dumb.
Yeah. It's too structured.
And it's too slow. If you're going to literally the amount let's just take marketing, for instance. The amount of change that has been in Facebook's algorithm in the last 6 months.
Insane.
Unbelievable. With literally Apple announcing that they're with iOS 14 that you're not going to be able to track things
privacy
anymore. That's it. That's so much of Facebook advertising gone.
Dude,
retargeting gone.
Look at 2 years. TikTok.
100%.
3 years. TikTok's been out for 3 years. Look at the marketing potential from TikTok.
Exactly.
You and I only met through TikTok, through Clubhouse. Now Clubhouse.
Yeah.
And they're not keeping up with that.
No.
Every time I meet someone who does marketing, I'm like, what do you learn? And we're like, just like the fundamentals and stuff. And it's like, what does that mean?
Yeah,
like,
what even is that?
What are you learning?
Yeah.
Why don't you just go out and start marketing? Build your personal brand.
100%.
Work with a company. Start doing marketing. Go work for a digital agency for 6 months. You'll learn more in that 6 months than you would in 3 years in a marketing degree because
Facts.
you're in the field.
Facts.
I'm getting fired up now.
It's good. It's good.
But let's switch on. I guess while we're on the topic of marketing, so you've got quite a presence on TikTok. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and what you've achieved there?
What I've achieved on TikTok.
Like, why are you on TikTok for the first place? Just for fun?
It was I guess originally with TikTok it was going on there so I could build an audience so that I could market to, and also like the bigger your if you can show that you can build an audience, people will take you more seriously.
Exactly.
That's kind of like where I was. And so like you can even see that on Clubhouse right now. Like people take me more seriously because I've got a big social media network. That was basically one of the reasons, the main reasons for it. I don't go on it for brand deals. I literally have basically not really done any brand deals in my whole time that I've been on it. I don't want to do brand deals. I think that like I don't want my life being controlled about whether another brand decides I'm good enough to make content for them or not. Like it's just like, for me, that's just not it. So, and I ultimately just like, it allows me to add value to a lot of people's lives who don't believe in themselves and that sort of thing. And so like, I want to create, because I'm tired of hearing people like getting used in relationships and not having like any sort of self-confidence or anything else. And like everyone goes, I like constantly being like, I wish I had I wish I could do this. I wish I could do that. I wish I had blah. Like, my whole thing is like, how do we educate you or show you that you can actually be confident and like grow and learn? Because ultimately, like anything that you want to do in life can be learned how to do it. Anyone who ever got good at anything had to learn how to do it, which means
information is everywhere.
Exactly. And anyone who is good at something had to learn how to do it, which means you can learn how to do it too. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like they're just like born with some gift of how to do something. No, They actually put in the work and they learned how to do it. So like my thing is like, I want to be able to show that I can learn how to do different things, and that I can try to empower people to be like, not just like more confident in themselves and know that they can actually learn how to be that. And that they can like be more optimistic about the future rather than focusing on the negative. Like, let's actually like you like if you like run your morning. I'm very big on like morning routines and stuff. And so like if you own your morning, you can literally own the day and that sort of thing. And like people don't realize how like toxic waking up wrong is to your whole
100%.
life. And so like that's kind of like where I want to like position myself within the social media space.
Yeah.
So
no, that's awesome. And obviously built like a sick following there. And as you mentioned, like on a few points there, like I hate the fact that it is, but followers is currency. Followers, if you have followers, it doesn't matter what you do, people will respect you. And and it's sad because it's very easy to get followers on TikTok. People can just do random stuff and they'll have followers.
Yeah.
And I've seen it with me. Having following on TikTok has been a game changer for me in terms of opportunity, in terms of getting bigger guests on. Same with Clubhouse. People recognize me. They'll just pull me into a room because they recognize me, all that sort of stuff. So like in terms of opportunity cost, imagine if you had spent 3 years building a TikTok profile instead of doing a marketing degree.
100%.
Like that's it. It'd be huge.
Massive. Yeah. And like some of the things that you can do, like I had a client of mine which was in the she does jewelry and stuff, and she's literally built an entire company on TikTok. Like that's her entire traffic source and everything else. And she's 19 years old, and she's
19.
19.
Holy crap.
19.
I did not realize that.
Yeah. Like young, like 19-year-old from LA, like just crushing it on TikTok by making videos.
There's a guy, have you seen the guy who makes like the custom rings for influencers?
No.
You should check him out. He just gets like antique forks and like antique jewelry, and he
I think I've seen it.
And like all these big TikTokers will just comment, make me one, and he'll respond to a comment, and you're like, I think this is your style, and you like bend it, and you like make a time lapse of how he makes it.
Yeah.
They look awesome. He gets millions of views, and then he gets more creators. James Charles comes on, can you make me one? Bang, gives it to James Charles. James Charles promotes it on his TikTok. Bang, extra 500,000 followers. Like, there's just so much potential for growth there.
100%. And it's targeting and the thing is, and this is what I love about it, and it's the same tactic that we took with ours. It's like with her and her strategy. It's literally just do things for influencers that make them feel special.
Yeah.
Ask for nothing in return, and you get everything in return.
Exactly. It's just provide value.
100%.
Always provide value. And what we're seeing on Clubhouse, aren't we? People jump in and they just sell.
100%.
It's like if you just
No one
provide
cares.
value, people will naturally want to come to you and work for you or make money through you, whatever
100%.
it is.
100%. I hate the entrepreneurial rooms.
Oh,
on
they're
Clubhouse
terrible.
Because it's literally just 10-minute spiel on how good they are.
Yeah.
And then add zero value to anything. And,
Yeah.
buy my course.
Yeah.
No, don't do that. Just like literally give value without asking for anything in return.
Yeah. And just to clarify, because I know a lot of people, got a lot of young listeners here, and you're getting into the personal development world, which I love, but I also hate. The entrepreneur world, the personal development world, it is incredible, but there's so many, bullshitters out there. There's so many toxic people who will, exactly as you said, try sell your course, try sell my course, whatever it is. There's so many, get money quick. What is it?
Get rich quick.
Get rich quick schemes. Yeah. And that's what you got to be careful of.
I think the ultimate thing when you provide so much value to your audience, they end up getting behind anything that you end up, because so you could easily monetize your audience in the future, but you're going to do it with something that's highly relevant to what they are, and they're going to believe in you so heavily in what you've done, and they're going to feel so indebted to you for how much value you've added to their lives that they're going to be like, you know what, I can't not buy this thing or do this or support him or turn up to this event or whatever you want to do. Whatever it is, they're going to be like, yo, this is the thing that I have to get behind.
No, I'm doing live stuff.
And if you don't
events.
use brands and you do brand deals and stuff, because every time you do a brand deal, you dilute your audience. They believe in you slightly less every single time. And so if you don't do brand deals and you don't do, and which is why I hold off on doing brand deals all day long and have my inbox gets hit all day.
I get heaps of people wanting
yo,
to
let's
sponsor
do
the show.
this, use this product, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that, because then when it comes time for me to, I'll only do something that I believe in and truly fundamentally believe in. I have to really, really, really believe in whatever it is that I'm doing. Otherwise, I just feel like I'm an imposter, and I refuse to feel like that. And so, and again, it's just add value. And eventually, when I do launch stuff out of it, if that's what I decide to do,
Bang.
people will get behind it, because they're like, yo, this dude has just done so much for me. And I get email DMs all the time being like, yo, you changed my life. You got me out of this crazy, you gave me the courage to get me out of this toxic relationship that I've been it's been consuming my life for the last 2 years. And I felt like I was drowning.
How good are
and
they?
I finally
Those
can
DMs?
breathe for the first time in that, and it's hard right now, and I'm like, yeah, it is hard, but I'm so proud of you for doing something that you needed to do and finally putting yourself first, because so many people don't do that.
No one puts himself first, especially in relationships, because I've done episodes on this. It's so easy. It's easy to stay in a relationship. It's hard when you're in that scenario. It takes guts to break
100%.
free, and most people would rather just stay in the comfort zone. Look, it's not terrible enough that they want to leave the relationship, but it's not good enough.
People also, if I could get something home, right now, there is a major, and people get confused between the difference between being alone and being lonely. Being alone is not lonely. There will be some times when you'll be lonely, you'll be like, damn, I wish I had a date. And I go through that. I've been by myself for a long time. And there's sometimes damn, it would be nice to have someone right now. But I can tell you right now, there is nothing more lonely than being in a relationship that doesn't support what you want to do, is just controlling, is all those sorts of things that. It feels completely comfortable. You don't want to be comfortable. And if you're not able to be who you truly are, just to be in a relationship, then that is the epitome of being lonely.
And it's the illusion of not being lonely.
100%. You feel, because there's someone there.
Yeah.
I'm not lonely. No, you are. If you lie there at night going, damn, or if you feel if you spend more time feeling bad about yourself in a relationship, that is lonely. That's crap. That's not a relationship.
Yeah. And it's the 6 out of 10 relationship. It's where it's not bad enough where you have to leave. If you've got a 1 out of 10 relationship, you'll probably get out there, because it could be abusive, it could be whatever. And I know some people don't. But
that's the thing. Because they're scared to be alone.
Yeah. But as you mentioned,
being alone is the best thing ever. You get to focus on yourself. You get to
100%.
actually put yourself first.
Well, this generation can't be alone because we've always got a phone on us. We're always talking to someone. There's always some sort of hit
100%.
of someone. And I feel that as well. I'm always
100%.
there's pretty much throughout the day, there's always someone I'm talking to. Whether it's a podcast interview, it's on Clubhouse, it's in the DMs, whoever. It's my friends. I'm always talking to someone. For me to go a day without talking to someone would be a weird day. But you need that. Like, you should be doing that.
Those days, at least, I try to go at least like one day a week. I like try to like disconnect as much as I possibly can. That's why I also kind of want to move to like living by myself. I live with 3 people at the moment.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of like almost at this point in my life where I'm just like, yo, like I really need to like focus solely on me and not have distractions and that sort of stuff. And I'm like, that's the other reason why I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Because I get 4 hours at least every day, at least 4 hours, 5, sometimes 6 if I can push it out to 9 a.m. where I don't have to talk to anybody.
No one's awake.
No one's awake. No one's hitting your phone. No one's doing anything. You just you by yourself. And the amount that I've grown by doing that, because I don't have to, I don't check my phone. I just focus on meditating. I journal. I read a book. And everyone, like, there is nothing more valuable than reading books. I used to be like, nah, I don't have time for that. I'm a slow reader. I'm this, I'm that. No. If you make time for reading books, you're going to like 10x your life.
I think if you gave me five books, I could find 5 more valuable books than a business degree.
Easy.
You could,
Easy.
And that, look, we're not even exaggerating. We're not taking the piss here. I genuinely believe that, this How to Win Friends and Influence People, one of my all-time favorite books. I guess Think and Grow Rich, there's a bit of...
Facts. No, I'm fully behind that.
I love it. I know there's a lot of kind of controversy behind it, but they're 2 amazing books. They're like millions and millions of copies sold. I think Atomic Habits is great in terms of what we were talking about.
This is literally the next book that I was going to say,
Yeah.
7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Yeah.
And then maybe Rich Dad, Poor Dad would probably be another boss one to throw in there. Like, that's basically my book list of anyone.
And that's very popular books. Like, we're not getting real creative here. We're just picking these almost 5 of the most popular business books out there.
100%.
You read those. And because the thing is, Think and Grow Rich took 20 years to write.
25 years, yeah. And
Something
he studied
ridiculous.
500 of the most successful business people in the world.
Yeah.
At the time.
That's
like,
all compacted into a book. That's the value. And so many books, it's like these people have spent 10 decades studying. They're putting everything they know simplified into like 200 pages. It can change your life.
I have my desire statement as my wallpaper on my phone, so I can literally read it whenever I want throughout the day.
I have we use this full focus planner because I did a goal setting workshop with my mates to plan out our goals for the year. We did a 2-day workshop. Nice. And I've got 10 goals. It's the first page of the journal. So every morning I just open it up and I just read my 10 goals just to like remind myself of what they are.
You write them down.
Yeah.
Every day.
No. I reread them. I should write them down. Yeah.
Every morning. I like write out my desire statement every morning, and I read it every morning before I meditate, so I can like meditate on that and like just like take advantage of like the creative state that my mind's in when I first wake up to try and like think about like how I can do it. Then I write it down when I start journaling, and then at nighttime before I go to sleep, I think about it again. Yeah. And it's just constantly just over and over and over repetitive, just going into, and like my desire statement is basically my overarching goal that I want to achieve this year. I just have one big target. And everything else I break down into daily goals of like what I want to do, or weekly or whatever it is, and these or monthly, and then just like work back from there. But
I just want people to listen. Like, this is a level that people I hang around are playing at, like yourself, getting up early. If you want to change your life, just get up half an hour early to start off with this. Get up half an hour early. Don't go on your phone. Go for a run or something. Do a 5-minute meditation. Start small and just have time to be alone, properly alone, beautifully alone, as we were talking about.
Facts.
And then if you can, go 6 a.m. Go 5:30. I get up at 5 now. As you know, I do the 5:30 club.
Yeah.
I haven't missed a day, 6 months in a row.
Yeah.
Like, it's absolute game changer, exactly as you said. And man, you'll hit 10 o'clock and you'll feel like you're halfway through the day.
Yeah.
And you've just started. Most people just start. You hit 9 o'clock and you feel like you're halfway through the day, and everyone's just getting to work, and you're like, wow.
When I first started getting up at 3 a.m, like, I'm on the extreme, guys, just to like put it
3
out
is
there.
extreme.
Like, 3 is extreme, but I'm telling you, like, I used to do 4 a.m. for like a long time. And my younger brother actually got me into it because I got him into the 4-hour wake ups. And then he just messaged me one time and he goes, we were chatting, and he goes, yeah, I do 3 o'clock now. And I'm like, bro, that's so heavy.
That's
like,
how I reacted.
How do you do that? And he's like, no, trust me, bro, just do it. And so I tried it. It's unbelievably good getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Like the amount of additional, that extra hour, you just get so much more done. And literally by the time 10 a.m. rolls around, you've basically done an entire, like you said, an entire day's worth of work. And most people have arrived at work, walked around, spoken to a whole bunch of different people, gone to the bubbler like 5 times or whatever, like and they're finally sitting down to do some work at 10 a.m. And I'm like crushed. I've crushed it. For those like 7 hours.
And then those sort of people will complain and go, oh, capitalism, all these people get rich. And it's like, this is what they're doing. They're getting up early. They're working way more hours. They're putting in, and look, 100%. I'm not saying work your ass off, because hustle culture can be quite toxic, I think. But you've got to put in the work if you want to get to, where you want to be.
I'm all about the hustle culture. Last year I took 1 full day off.
Wow. I didn't
randomly on like one Saturday, I was like, you know what? Today I'm not going to do any work.
But do you know why you can do that? Because you enjoy what you do.
Yeah.
And you probably love what you do.
Yeah.
If I didn't love what I do, there's no way I could work this hard. No way I would be getting up early. I'd be putting in, 10, 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, if I was not in love with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like if I was just at 9 to 5, look, no disrespect, you can love your 9 to 5, 100%. But if I was doing something that I didn't enjoy, there's no way I could work that hard. And that's why I think it's important that you enjoy what you do.
100%. You have to enjoy what you do, but then also have a mindset of like wealth creation, rather than like, you have to actually like understand, and this is where those books and things come into play, is like you actually have to understand how money moves in society. And like there was like there's like this idea or whatever that, and this is like to tie in with like, okay, we work your 9 to 5, but like you can work your 9 to 5 for your whole life and still never be like financially free or anything else. So you actually have to study how you can actually do that, and then turn your 9 to 5 and what you're doing in that period of time, and use like the money and stuff that you make from that to actually be able to go and work for you, so then you can actually then create financial freedom.
You can 100% be wealthy through a 9 to 5 if you're smart with your money.
Very smart.
In fact, it's probably easier. Being an entrepreneur is hard. Most people fail.
Yeah, literally last year when I was basically making the least amount of money I possibly could, I was literally making the least amount of money as possibly could, I was still saving 30% of my income.
I saved 50% of my income last year. Last year I moved home. I was on JobKeeper, so I was on minimum wage, $35,000 a year. That was my wage, and I saved $15,000 last year.
Okay, living at home is
I moved home. I cut down my expenses as 100%. Much as I possibly could, and I was still paying for rent here in this office. I was still paying for certain things, and it's like, it's totally living in 9 to 5. You can make a lot of money doing it if you're smart with your money.
I literally wish I could live at home. My parents live in Newcastle, so I can't really do that actually I could now. Maybe I've got to move home,
dude,
bro.
it's
Maybe
so much money saving.
So much money
I love my parents.
$300
There's no, there's no beef with my parents. I love them. So for me, it's been good. I'll probably move out this year if I can start getting some money come in. But like, minimum viable lifestyle, we call it.
Yeah.
What can you live off? While you're hustling, while you're trying to,
I'm just
make
like
it
right
work.
now. I'm fortunate. Like, what's keeping me going? Well, yeah, like I'm making a fairly sizable amount of money from crypto right now.
Yeah.
So like, I just
we're
like
in a boom, aren't we?
Yeah. Bull market.
Yeah.
Like,
I won't even get into that because that's a whole nother episode. I'm actually doing an episode on stocks, real simple stuff. But I did want to this is a random tangent that you said before. You mentioned about this providing value through that necklace thing, through their campaign. So how did that happen? I know, I think a lot of people would be aware of this campaign through TikTok because it went super viral. Like, I knew of it before you even told me about it.
Yeah, so we just basically, it was over a number of videos, but we basically were able to generate 1 billion views from these top influencers. She just created a video to get one of their attention. And then basically through my DM strategy of being able to like how to actually do proper outreach and stuff, we were able to get product out to them. And the actual way that I helped, like we did a 3-hour session of how we were going to write the cards to these influencers, like personally addressed cards. And the responses that like my whole attitude was, you're their best friend. It's not you're an influencer that I'm saying is a commodity that I can get something out of.
Yeah.
It's we're best friends and I'm here supporting everything that you do.
I don't expect
And
anything in return.
Nothing. We asked for nothing. We asked for nothing in return. Nothing. And I'm just like, I get like goosebumps and stuff, like thinking about like how we like went about it, and there was nothing manipulative or anything else. Like it was just literally from like it was like from my heart. I'm like, this is what I feel. Like I'm actually super proud of like what you guys have been up to and all this sort of stuff, and it was like really heartfelt. But we actually consumed their content and showed that we consumed their content without actually saying we consumed their content.
Right.
We actually like we didn't go, hey, I really liked you on this one video that you did, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, what are you showing throughout all your content that you really care about? What are the things that really matter? And like Dixie D'Amelio is one of the influencers that we work with. And she like put on her story, like her like getting the card. And she was like, this is the best thing that I've ever received.
So cool.
And it's a freaking card, man.
Yeah.
Like, and like just what we did, it was like, yeah, she was like, oh my goodness, this is like so cool. Like, I can't believe they actually put this much effort in. And it wasn't that much effort. We just cared, man. Like, we just cared.
Yeah.
And like, that's what so many people don't understand about anything in business is like, if you actually just care about people will do things for you without you having to ask for it because they feel indebted to you because they're like, oh my God, this person's actually doing so much for me. Let me return the favor to them.
Yeah. And it's such a good point you made about consuming their content without telling them you've consumed it. Because other people reach out to me and I'll say stuff like at the end of it, like, you know, also I just dropped out of my business degree, winky face. Oh, that's got me. If you when people message me saying that, and I've had people message me saying they've dropped out of degrees or they've reconsidered and stuff, and like that's pulling at my heartstrings.
Yeah.
So like they've got my attention.
Yeah.
Versus a copy and paste. Hey, I love what you said
on this episode
at the 10-minute mark, and they copy and paste the title of the episode.
100%.
It's like, come on.
Yeah, 100%. So you just gotta you'd realistically, like when you get just actually work out what people care about, and and if you can tie into something that's personal that's happening in their life right now, that they've actively shared, don't go get creepy on it, you know what I mean? Actually something, and if you can speak to that and get an emotional reaction out of that, and actually be super genuine about it.
Yeah,
that is where you actually get people on your side, because How to Win Friends and Influence People, that comes from that book. That's actually caring about people, and that's how you get responses. And so doing that sort of thing and actually genuinely caring about someone, that's how you win.
100%.
And so many people don't get that, but that's literally how we built out a campaign. And from the back of that, we 26'd her income in her sales in a month. 26 times.
Insane. So cool. But that's exactly it. And I don't know, maybe they teach you this in a marketing degree, but what you just said, all that caring, and you tied it in with tangible examples, that is so valuable for marketing. And look, if you're in something and you don't care about it, go and do something else. Market something you care about. I could 100%. Never do. I'm not very good at sales. I'm good at sales for what I do because I love it.
Yeah.
But if you gave me sales, a sales role, and I didn't like the product or I wasn't in love with it, I'd be terrible.
Yeah. When I worked in sales, I had a product that it didn't ethically align with me, but I turned it. And sometimes you actually end up in positions where you don't want to be in that position, and maybe you can't get out right now. And so you can focus on the things that you can benefit from.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I don't necessarily, because of we were selling unsecured business loans, and I didn't really think that they were doing that much good, but it taught me how to sell.
Which is one of the most valuable
skills. Yeah. And so I went in there and I was like, well, I may not believe in what the product is, but I'm going to learn how to sell it better than anybody.
Yeah.
And so I went in and I sat in and I hustled it as hard as I could. And I literally sat in with the best. I went and asked if I could study the best salesperson. I literally just sat in and watched what he did all day, every day. And he was making less calls than everyone else, spending less time on the phone, and converting way harder. And I just sat there and I did that. And within about 4 months, I was top agent. So I actually beat him for multiple months. And then he moved to a different area of the business, so we weren't competing as much. I beat him and then he beat me. And it was good. I liked the battle that we had. But it was just like, and then at the 10-month mark, I was like, all right, cool. I know how to sell now. Now I'm going to like take my, like, I'm like, now that I know how to sell and I don't believe like what we're doing anymore. And I was very like adamant about that. I was like, no, I just like some stuff, like, yeah, some stuff happened and I was just like, no, I don't believe in this anymore. Like I can't keep doing this. And so that's when I went off and did UX design as well. Cause I was like, you know, that's another skill that I need to have to be able to, and like studying user experience design. Like if anyone wants to actually learn how to like empathize with people and understand how to speak to your audience and do all those sorts of things, UX design, 100% the best way to do that. Because it teaches you how to actually understand who you're trying to do and who you're speaking to, who your audience is, all that sort of stuff. And so within UX, if anyone's listening and actually wants to like dabble in it, there's a thing called the Interaction Design Foundation. It's an online platform. It costs $14 a month to be able to do it, so it's cheap. And I think Forbes magazine said it was at the same level or level as an Ivy League school.
Wow!
So you can get Ivy League's access from a private college for $14 a month.
Yeah, and there's a lot of examples across a lot of industries of something like that.
100%.
Google has a university now. It's like free.
Yeah,
and that's Google quality.
Well, then do that. If there's Google quality, then maybe do that one as well.
Oh no,
like,
but that's like across all different things.
Yeah, exactly. But like this one, I've just done. And I know I can vouch for how good it is.
Yeah.
And so like that was what I did before going and actually like full on studying it. But yeah.
But you made a good point there. Like you're in the sales role. I don't fully align with what I'm doing, but I'm here anyway.
Yeah.
You know, I'm locked in. I'm going to be here for the next 6 months. How can I make the most of it?
Yeah.
I'm here anyway. What can I get out of it? Well, I need to improve my sales skills. So let's be the best salesperson I possibly can. Let's learn. It's so much of it comes down to mindset and like what you want to do.
It's mindset and just work.
Yeah, mindset.
It's work.
Put in the work.
It's actually just work. And even if you don't love it, just work. Because if you're going to get so much more out of it and you're going to get so much better if you just put in the work.
But people
like,
just complain.
It's like, but just because they don't take responsibility for their life, man.
And all I see, I don't know if you see it on TikTok. So many people on TikTok are just complaining. Oh, Jeff Bezos doesn't donate money. It's like, just focus on your life. You know, and just put in the work.
Facts.
Whatever there is. I see it, you know, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk is the richest, he's unethical. Like, just stop worrying about other people. You putting out a video on TikTok isn't going to change what he's doing. No. If you really want to make an impact, go start your own business. Go do something and really make an impact.
Facts. It's
like, that's what I'm trying to do with the podcast. Like, long form, I'm trying to do proper education. There's only so much education I can do through 30-second TikTok clips.
Yeah. But again, like, your situation is whatever your situation is, and you can feel sorry for yourself as much as you want, but the market is the market.
Yeah,
and the market determines what your value is and everything else. So you can either sit there and feel sorry for yourself, and you can have all these things that have been bad that happened to you, but so what? And I know people are going to like come at me right now because I'm a young white male who is... by other people's definition attractive. So like I have all the privilege in the world and I know that I do, but it doesn't mean I don't work. I put in 100-hour weeks every single week forever. I have I don't take time off. I don't do any of those things. And yes, it's an extreme vision and way of conducting myself, but I'm determined to outwork what people believe that I have been entitled to because I don't make excuses. Everything is my fault.
Yeah.
And
I agree. I had the other day I did put out a video. I did an episode on sexual assault, and the guy who was like the expert is a middle-aged white male, right? Yeah. And this guy just stitches my TikTok, and he's just like, he says basically we shouldn't listen to him because he's a straight white male. And I was like, what do you mean? He's been talking about this for 25 years. He's spoken in front of 950,000 people. Go look at the comments on my video. Every single person. He came to my school. He's the best. He came to my school. Just because he's a white male, it's just victim mindset. Go look at if there's anyone who's ever done it, you can too.
100%.
There's so many people who are successful.
And the thing is, where I'm at, and again, we're gonna I'm ready to cop hate on this because it's just what I believe. But like, the internet doesn't care about your background. It doesn't care about your skin color. It doesn't care about your sexuality. It doesn't care about anything because you can run a business on the internet and have nobody know who you are.
You can be a ghost.
You can literally be... So if you think you're that good and you're being that had that much taken away from you because of like what you look like or anything else, go start an internet company.
Go start an e-com business.
I'm running an internet company right now. You're running an internet company.
Yeah.
And like, sure, you're going to be the face of it and all those sorts of things, and you can choose to be that, but like. Also, like, I day trade crypto and no one cares about whether I, like, what I look like or anything else. They're just deciding whether, like, it's the market is, are you in at the right time or are you not? Yeah. Am I taking your money or are you taking my money?
Yeah. Look at
That's it.
Melanie Perkins, CEO of Canva. She just created a service that is amazing. I'm in love with the company. Now she's a billionaire.
Crushed it.
Yeah. Her and her fiance just started it.
Did not say, oh, the market's not going to agree with me or anything else. It's, I don't care.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of like that. And again, like, I know. And I will put this out as many times as I possibly have to say that I am privileged.
I'm privileged as well.
For
anyone in Australia, I believe, is privileged. 100%. From the bottom of my heart. 100%. Australia, America, England, Canada, those kind of Western countries, I think there are some that are better than others. But anyone born in those countries, you're privileged compared to the other 4 billion people on the planet.
Exactly.
Like,
but again, it's your mentality. I could come from, because there are people who I've gone to school with who are sitting around doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Who had more than I did as a kid.
Yeah.
Who by any means, who are white, who are all this, blah, 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 who are doing nothing.
Yep. Same with me. I grew up in New Zealand in a tiny town. We lived paycheck to paycheck for the first 18 years of my life. My mum kind of admitted to me the other day. She never told me that. And look, I love my childhood. All of my friends had more money than me. They got a car. I had to save up for 3 years as a kid to buy a $2,000 Saab, like a crappy car. I spent years saving up for that. A lot of my friends just got given one by their parents. It sucked at the time, but I appreciate that, it taught me to discipline, save money. Yep. And now I translate that into the business world.
Facts. Yeah.
And so, while we are privileged, we're both willing to admit that. You can either, this is why I see it. You can either complain or you can go do.
100%.
You can sit here and go, oh, I'm a victim. Oh, I'm this, and this. Or you can go, you know what? I don't care. And so TikTok for me, I see a lot of people who are playing that victim mindset, and it really bothers me. But I guess that's a world we live in. And so hopefully listeners of the show, aren't doing that.
That was one hell of a rabbit hole to go down.
That was a hell of a rabbit hole. I mean, look, is there anything you wanted to cover specifically to a younger audience? Like, I feel like you've got across quite a few core messages that you're passionate about.
I think one of the things that people, when they're younger and stuff, they feel like they can't move around and they can't do different things. They can't try different things because they're worried about, because the older generation tells you got to have one job and stick with it for years or whatever. Like, you don't need to do that. Like, you don't. Like, I literally am like testament to that like, I did 8 different jobs in 4 years. Not once.
How much did you learn in that 4 years?
So much. Learned so much, and not once did that ever come up in an interview. They were like, and literally nothing that I couldn't sidestep. One person going into this sales job, he was like, if I look at your resume, what is the one thing that I'm noticing? And I'm like, I've had a lot of jobs. And he's like, yep. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm really good at everything that I do. And so I'm going to come in here and I'm going to crush it.
Yeah. And then you say, I'm 22. I'm experimenting to figure out what industries I love.
100%.
This is my university.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right now,
like, yep, cool, no worries. Yeah. Bring you on, and if you go in there and if you're confident that you're going to go in there and you're just going to crush it, and you go in there and deliver it, then it is what it is. And just learn how to sell yourself. That's one big thing that I would say. Learn how to actually. There's a course out there that you should do, and I don't have an example of one, but learn how to sell yourself and take the skills that you already have and show off how that can be used to get into whatever you want to do. And actually pre-plan it. But again, it's it doesn't have to and even if you, also don't be afraid of failing either. You learn through failure. You lose. I lose all the time.
I lose all the time. Yeah.
All the time. And it's okay. It's okay to lose. But yeah. And the only way you're actually going to be able to get confident, this is one final probably thing that I want to say as well with confidence, is by doing hard things.
Comfort zones.
Show yourself that you deserve to be confident. Instead of sitting there going, oh, I'm not confident. Well, what are the things that you feel most scared about? go and do those things. Like actually like lean into the things that scare you. And on the other side of the things that scare you is where confidence lies.
Yeah.
Because then you go, you know what? Now I can back myself in that area because I proved to myself that I can do it, and it's become a natural thing that I know how to do.
Do you know what we call that? So we do this exact exercise at one of the events we do for young people. We draw a table with 4 legs, and they say, what do you want to be more confident in? Public speaking, let's say, for example. And then you go, all right, let's find 4 of the biggest references in your life where you were a confident public speaker. And you go, oh, there's that time I stood up in front of my class and I said this, and you write that down, references. What you're saying is just building references. If you want to build your confidence, go out and do it, and it's going to act as a reference. So now you're going to get more confident slowly and slowly.
Facts.
I'm scared of public speaking. They say it's scarier than death. People fear death higher than public speaking. Bit of a joke, but apparently. And
I can, yeah. I don't mind it. Like, it depends. If I feel like I know what I'm talking about, then I'm
exactly.
like more confident. But yeah.
And but I'm starting to speak in front of schools, and that's like one of the toughest audiences to speak in front of, 16-year-old kids. And it's scary. And I just got to start doing it. I just got to bite that bullet. I just got to start doing it.
Yeah. It's
uncomfortable. But by getting out of your comfort zone, that's where the growth happens.
Exactly.
And this is what we need to be learning in school, in my opinion. Imagine if everyone had this mindset. I reckon we'd have significantly less mental health problems. People would be a lot happier.
They don't want to, because the top 1% want people to, you benefit. If you work it out yourself, or you have someone who can teach you how to do it, then you're going to benefit greater than anyone else. And that ultimately comes down to, are you willing to search and find and not be a sheep?
Yeah.
To not just accept anything that is. And that's the barrier to entry, because if everyone knew all the things, then there would be, everyone would have everything. So it's like, do you want it bad enough that you're willing to go the extra mile and learn the things you actually need to learn to be able to execute properly and win?
Yeah.
And everyone has access to that information, because now is the time when information is really available everywhere.
Right now, if you're listening to this and you're young, I had a girl, I saved this DM. I actually almost wanted to put it as my screensaver, because it makes me almost tear up, because it's so powerful to me.
Yeah.
She DM'd me basically saying, I listen to podcasts, it's changed my life. I'm 14.
Mm-hmm.
There's a 14-year-old girl who is actively listening to stuff like this, getting education outside of school. Mm-hmm. They're the people who are going to make it in life. And if you're listening to this, it means you're doing the same thing. I have 180,000 followers on TikTok through the podcast. I only have a few thousand listeners of the show, which means a tiny, tiny, tiny percentage actually go from TikTok and make that leap to come get more education. And you're one of them if you're listening to this.
100%.
Most people just don't even show up. They say 70% of success is just showing up.
100%.
Both of us, you said the example at the beginning. You didn't want to go to that event for the digital marketing.
Yeah.
But you just showed up, and look at what happened.
Yeah. My whole life changed because of that. Because of those sorts of things. And up until, it's actually super interesting, because right up until 2017, I didn't have that same mindset. In 2017, I tried to move to New York by myself. Sold all my shit. Tried to live out a childhood dream of doing that. When I first got there, I got scammed out of $4,000 straight off the bat.
No way.
Booked an apartment on Craigslist, which ended up being fake.
No way.
So I got screwed on that. Then...
but you failed, see? Failures.
And just did heaps of... Failed there. Failed the whole... I went there at the wrong time of year, coming into right into the end of the year at Christmas time. Did a whole bunch of... didn't take a job when I could have, because I wanted to go after more money in a different job, which I didn't end up getting, and then had a whole bunch of visa issues and stuff like that, because and at the time, all I did was blame Trump, and I blamed other people for all that, and I came back heartbroken and just devastated and all this sorts of stuff. And then I sat there and I looked, and it took me a while, and then that's when I really kicked off my personal development sort of journey. I was always into acquiring skills, doing better, being more, doing all that sort of always learning and that sort of thing. But the real personal development kicked off at that point. And I finally looked back at it, and I'm like, Trump had nothing to do with this. Nobody had anything. Trump be in control, man. The only thing that went wrong was shit that I did wrong. I went there at the wrong time of year. I didn't do enough research.
Yep.
I didn't work out what the changes were happening within the visa laws to be able to allow an Australian to get a thing. I was over there at 23 years old. 23 years old, right now, you need to be able to show extremely specialized skills that someone in America can't do.
Same with if you come into Australia.
Exactly. 23 years old, you can't really show that because you're fresh out of college, pretty much. Just like any other college kid. is. So like, yeah, like did a whole bunch of other things, ended up getting like losing a whole bunch of money on the way out because of an apartment that I got, which I didn't do enough for it. Like I came back 10 grand in debt on a credit card. That's at 21%. Like
21
at 21%. Like I was getting absolutely wrecked, but then I didn't. My parents were like, "Hey, like we could probably like see if we could help with that." And I'm like, "No, no, it's not. Like it's my fault. I got to get myself out of this. Like I put myself in here. I probably didn't go hard enough. I didn't do a whole bunch of things, but like that kicked off my whole journey and I'm so grateful for it. It also made me work a whole lot harder when I got that sales job because I had to pay off a whole bunch of other things. So like I actually put myself in a pretty like really crappy situation at absolute rock bottom, like came back absolutely heartbroken that like a childhood dream got crushed after like 3 months and just failed so hard. And then could like, basically had to climb my way out of that by like hustling pretty much and just outworking everyone else and like have learned so many lessons on the back of that. But really it's like I am in complete control of the decisions that I make and whether I'm making the right decisions or not.
Yep.
And so it's no one else's fault. Everything's my fault.
And once you understand that, once you start taking responsibility, your life
100%.
will change.
100%.
Like
no matter like if anything bad happens to you, it's like you still made decisions that led up to the point in you being in that situation where you now have been at, it's like at the detriment to whatever it is. So you're in control at every level.
So the example we use at Empower You is if you're late to school, so the bus is late and you rock up late to school, you can either walk in and you can say, "Sorry, miss, the bus was late." You're right. The bus was late, but you're not taking control. Or let's say you're going again. Next day, the bus is late again. You walk in, you say, "Miss, sorry, the bus was late." She's starting a little bit annoyed. Next day you walk in, you can either say the bus was late or you can say, "Sorry, miss, I'm late," and you can get another bus. Or you can get there on time, get there earlier. You can get your parents to take you. You can figure out a solution. So while you're still correct, the bus was late, you're not taking control of the situation.
No.
The same example, my dad was in the army. You know, there's 4 of them in a cabin. Whenever they came in, cabin inspections, very, very thorough. You know, you stand up the front of the door. Once one of his mates forgot to do something with his pillow, forgot to like a crease in his shirt or something really small, and they got like 100 push-ups. They were punished. They all had to do push-ups because of that. And it's like 3 of them can either all blame that one guy, but in the army they teach you assumption is the mother of all fuck-ups. So you assumed that he was going to do his thing. You didn't check up on him. You didn't check his bed. You didn't check that he did his pillow right. So you can take responsibility. Yeah. And there's like examples. I could just fire them off. But like, if you can understand what we're saying in this podcast, I feel like you can change your life through what we're talking about.
Facts.
But anyways, man, before we wrap up, my final question of the show.
Okay, here we go.
You've already answered it probably, but feel free to say it again. What's your number one piece of advice for the younger generation? Gen Z, if you had one piece of advice, what would it be?
Fuck what anyone else thinks or says. Do what's actually going to make you happy. Because when you do what makes you happy, you will do whatever it takes to succeed in that thing. Fuck college.
Yeah. Yeah. That's going to be the title of this episode. But yeah, I agree. Like so much. Just follow what you want to follow. And a great thing is what you said. You just tasted lots of things. You went in this industry, you went in this industry. You just tasted around to figure out what you want to do. Facts. It's very rare you're just going to be like, "Oh, I want to be an engineer." And you're going to go, at 17 years old, you're going to be, "I want to be an engineer." Some people will. Yeah. Majority won't. Yeah. And so you just got to start tasting. Go travel for a year. Go to New York for a year. You did. Get in debt. You're going to learn a lot from that. You're going to lose 100%. Money. Go do stuff.
Do things.
And people will look at you and be like, "Look, this guy's gone to New York. He's failed. He's $10,000 in debt. That's pretty embarrassing." It's like, because that's how society kind of judges success. It's 100%. Like you're not. And look, my son's getting a degree. My mum even said, so I didn't go to university, and my parents were totally okay with that. And she admitted there was a few little points when she was in conversations with other of my friends' parents, and when they said, "Oh, my boy's doing this, my girl's at uni studying this," and she said, "Oh, Byron's making videos," like that's what I was doing. She had a little bit inside of her that went, "That's not as impressive," even though she knew from her heart she's fine with what I was doing.
Facts, because everyone's worried about what other people think about them.
Yeah.
In the end, like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And the other thing I really want to add, because so many people think they need to have everything figured out. Oh, I'm 26. I have nothing figured out. I know where I want to go, but I have no clue how I'm like I know how I want to get there. It's probably not going to play out how I want to, and I've learned that from experience. I was having this exact chat with my dad, like over the Christmas period, and I said, yeah, I've got no idea what I just said, look, yeah, I got absolutely no idea what I'm doing, and my dad, who's like 70, says, I got no idea what I'm doing either.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's exactly it. So don't worry about having it all figured out or anything else, because you will never have it all figured out.
If you have an expectation,
100%.
you're never going to hit it and you're going to feel guilty.
100%.
If your expectation is to not have it figured out, like everyone else in the world, then you'll just be okay with it. No one has it figured out. I have stuff figured out in my life, not everything. I don't know where I'm going to be next year. I've got no clue where I'll be next year.
Yeah.
I just have a goal of impacting as many young lives as possible. For all I know, the podcast won't exist next year.
Yeah.
I hope it will.
Yeah.
I've got plans of where I want to be, like you. I don't know how they're going to get there.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that unpredictability.
100%.
And so, yeah. No, it's such a big one. But anyways, man, thank you so much for coming on the show.
No worries.
Final
for having me.
Final things are, where can we find you? Where's the best place to go to connect? Follow you online?
You can find me on Instagram or TikTok at its.alasdair. Alasdair spelled Alasdair. I know it's weird, but that's just how we go. And yeah, if you're on Clubhouse as well, let's come jump in a room and let's chat.
Yeah, guys, get on Clubhouse. We're on there a lot, so definitely connect with him. Everything will be in the description. But otherwise, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thanks, Byron. Appreciate it.
That's it for this episode of the Driven Young podcast. Thank you so much for listening to the entire episode. That means the world to me. And if you got some value out of it, please shoot me a message on Instagram or reach out to me. Or I would love for you to leave a rating or review on this podcast. So make sure you are subscribed, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.